In this video, we're going to make a Doctor Who diorama. I start off by making the base out of a thin piece of board. Now I build up the base using pieces of cork, which I use wood glue to glue it down because, well, cork is wood and wood is wood. So that's what seemed most fitting. And now that I have it built up to where it's mostly not horrible, it's time to make some texture paste. I mix the plaster, paint, glue, and water all together. And while doing so, I used precise and exact scientific measurements to make sure that it was perfect the first time. I absolutely did not make it extremely runny and have to add more to it later. Besides, even if I did, you'll never know. I'm the one in charge of the editing here. So remember, when you're frosting your cake, you want the cake and the frosting both to be at room temperature, and always frost in one direction. This will create what is known as a crumb layer, trapping all the crumbs underneath the... wait a second. Oh, yeah, that's right, we're not doing a cake, I'm sorry. Yeah, so anyways, now this technique right here I learned while backpacking in the Himalayas. Of course I'm joking, I don't own a backpack. And now that the texture paste is dried, let's get to the priming. And of course we have to do a zenithal highlight because that's what all the cool kids are doing. I started with adding brown at first because it's dirt and dirt's usually brown. It's been ages since I've been outside, so I could be wrong. I painted this area tan so it would look like sand, but eventually I used resin on it and it ends up looking gray because I add blue to it because I have no clue what I'm doing. Now I paint the higher surface in a lighter brown because it would naturally get more light and thus be brighter. Now I'm just saying this to make it seem like I kind of know what I'm doing. And for the remainder of this, I'm going to paint all the way over here in the corner of the screen because I've no idea how to frame a shot, apparently. I dry brush on some of the original light tan to bring out the highlights. And I know it might not look like it's there, but trust me, it's there, okay? Yeah, just believe me. And this leads to, honestly, my favorite part of any build, getting to use the static grass applicator. We apply watered down PVA glue to wherever we want the grass to stick. The applicator actually creates a static field, making the grass particles stand up on end. And it can also give you a very nice shock, so I'd recommend being careful when using one of these. And I like to give it 2 rounds with the applicator because it really helps the grass look more filled out. And if that's not some fantastic looking grass, I don't know what is. I like to add some of this flocking because it makes it look a little less uniform and a little bit more natural. That normally works, I promise. And usually to achieve a more natural look during this part, I just shut my brain off and let the flock fly where it may. And when you're seasoning, make sure you don't apply too much pepper to the... Why do I think we're cooking again? And I ended up adding several tufts to it to make it look a little bit more natural. I tried to add them to the corners and edges where weeds would naturally want to grow. And I recorded this particular one here out of focus because how else would you have known that everything else was in focus if you couldn't see that this one was out of focus? I like to take these little flower tufts that I have and chop them up into smaller pieces. You end up getting to use more pieces out of it, and it does look a little bit more natural. And now on to the easiest part of any build. That is nearly impossible to mess up and that everyone loves. Resin. I ended up tinting it slightly blue with a little bit of blue ink, which ended up not being a great idea because it turned the sand color that I had into more of a gray color. And here I recorded my hand opposed to recording the resin because why would you want to see the resin? It always goes right. I apply some high gloss Mod Podge to the surface of the resin to really give it a more watery look to the fake water that I made. And yes, of course, I paint the edges of the diorama black because according to the Geneva Convention, it is a war crime not to. There's something very undoctory about this doctor. He needs a screwdriver. Luckily, I happen to have a well-organized stash of orc bits. And we'll just have a quick peek to see if we can find anything that we can turn into a screwdriver for our doctor. And this little handle should work fine for what we're trying to do. And I happen to find this little bit that fits oh so perfectly onto our TARDIS. So, new fan theory here, the Doctor happens to be an orc from the 40k universe in disguise. Well, it ends up looking more like a sonic microphone rather than a screwdriver, but that'll work. And for these 100% generic and completely not copywritten angel statues, I prime them black and dry brush with progressively lighter grays up to white. And here is a little miniature painting technique that's really useful. It's called copy and paste. This absolutely normal phone booth here, I decided just to paint blue for no reason. Yeah, I painted each one of those windows individually. And a little dry brush and you bring out the definition of all the edges. And now to spend plenty of time painting the Doctor. Oh golly gee, how clumsy of me. Oh darn, he must have fallen in some spilt paint on the desk. Oh well, we'll just use it like this. The completely generic phone box goes here. Non-trademark infringing statue goes there. Random man with a trench coat and a microphone goes there. That's a good spot for a crying angel statue. And that's it completed. I really hope that you enjoyed and thank you for sticking around till the end.